Hey, we're Old Dominion. You're listening to Walking the Floor.
I'm walking the floor over you.
Walking the floor.
I'm walking the floor. Walking the floor over you.
Hola, senors and senoritas. It is time for another episode of Walking the Floor with Chris Shiflett. Walking the Floor with Chris Shiflett, brought to you this week, just like every week, by your good friends at Floyd's 99 Barbershops. Keeping you slick from coast to coast. Floyd's 99 Barbershops. Of course, they help keep this here podcast free for your listening pleasure, so that's good. Go check them out. Floyd's 99 Barbershops. Anyway, what is happening in the world of Walking the Floor? This is episode number 51, which admittedly has just slightly less cachet than episode 50. Episode 50 was a milestone. This episode 51 is the dawning of a new era. And I'm pleased to have my new good friends, Old Dominion, on the episode today. These guys, I'd never met them before. They're super cool, super funny. I think we laughed more in this interview than in any other interview I've ever done. And I don't think I know for sure, I have never interviewed 5 dudes at the same time like I did with these guys. But it was great. Stay tuned for that. It's coming. But first, what is happening in my world? I'll tell you what's happening in my world. I'm about to leave tomorrow to go play 2 shows with Chevy Metal that by the time you hear this will have already happened. So hopefully I will have seen some of you people there. We're playing up in Seattle at the Bumper Shoot and out in Denver at the Riot Fest. And then in a couple of weeks, we're going to be out in Philly and also out in Chicago at another Riot Fest. I hope to see some of you folks at these gigs. It's going to be fun. Been doing a few Chevy Metal shows lately, and it's been good times. I also just mastered my solo record the other day. It's mastered. It is done. It's sequenced. And now I got to make artwork and figure out how and when and where I'm going to put it out and do shows and all that stuff. But it's done, and I'm going to play a song from it at some point on this podcast in the coming months. Not sure when, but I'll figure it out. All right, let's sell some music gear. Let me tell you about my good friends at Zounds. Zounds.com. Zounds, that's ZZOUNDS.com. Zounds has payment plans available to make your gear more affordable. Think about that. You can split your total bill into 4, 6, 8, or 12 monthly payments. So all you need to do is put your first payment down, and Zound's going to ship you your gear immediately. I know when I was a young, struggling artist out there trying to buy guitar strings and stuff, that would have come in very handy. So I encourage you, go to Zounds.com, and you can finally get that Steve Vai model guitar with the active pickups and the Floyd Rose and the handle. Because who needs a case when you got a handle right there on your guitar? I'm telling you, it's the best. Zounds. Sounds.com, just do it. All right, let's do this. Okay, so a few months back, Old Dominion was out on the West Coast doing some shows. They'd just done the Stagecoach Festival out in the desert, and I was lucky enough to get them to come by my studio and do this interview. And my studio is it's really small. It's just like this one little room with a couch and a couple of chairs. And there's a knock on the door, and all 5 of them come pouring in, and they all sat on the couch together and shared mics. And we just sat there and laughed and talked, and it was a good interview. It's one of my favorite interviews I have ever done. I really enjoyed hanging out with these guys. They're really, really cool. And listen till the end, because they play a new song that I don't think they've recorded yet, or maybe they have by now because it was a few months ago, but it's called Not Everything's About You, and it's amazing. They sound perfect. They harmonize together perfectly. You can tell these guys are really pros. And if you don't know about them, they're actually all independently successful songwriters out in Nashville that wound up putting a band together They recorded an EP, hit the road, went out on tour. They've done everything from like little van tours to opening for Kenny Chesney to making their full-length debut, Meat and Candy, which you should definitely go check out. But why bother listening to me tell their story? Why don't I let them tell their story? This is Old Dominion on Walking the Floor.
Get through to him that you ain't in love. Come on, you can't deny that you and I.
What were you guys doing over at Max?
Getting
weird with the locals.
Pumping some iron.
as you do, as you do.
Some gymnastics.
No, we just got a little early, so we just went and grabbed some food.
Oh, okay. I was watching that. I was watching one of your videos on YouTube this morning, and it looked like, was it shot over there in Venice at that skate
Some
park?
of it was, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Some of it was,
And more importantly, did you bring me an Old Dominion skate deck?
Oh man,
Because I noticed there's one that's in the. I don't know if that was just a one-off or if that's something you guys do.
I think there is one on the bus.
There's one on the bus.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Is that something you? Is that like? Was that just made for the video?
Just
or
for
was
the
that,
video, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We should make some of those up. Come on, buddy.
Squeeze in.
Why not just so people can recognize your voices? Because there's no video component to this. Just introduce yourselves and say hi.
Yeah, this is Trevor.
And this is Matthew.
Jeff.
This is Whit. Brad.
There you go. Cool. Together you are Old Dominion.
With our powers combined.
Are you guys just coming from Stagecoach? Were you out there?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Stagecoach was the last thing we played, which was
How was
pretty amazing. Yeah, huge. That's a lot of people.
Have you played many of those like big festivals like that?
That
Not
was
the big ones.
Yeah, that was the biggest one we've done. I think we played a bunch of festivals, but that one was huge.
I've done that. I've been at that one and Coachella. I think Stagecoach is so much. It's just a way better hang. I mean, I know it's the same venue and everything, but it just seems so much more manageable. Like,
Yeah.
just I don't know, something about it just.
They
felt
said they
very
like
comfortable.
rearrange the like configuration of the stages and everything.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, they like change it from Coachella to
Huh.
Stagecoach. They
Truth be
change
told, I
everything.
haven't been to Coachella in like, I don't know, 15 years or something. So I don't know. Maybe it's entirely different now. But I liked Stagecoach a lot when I was out there. It just seemed like a pretty wide range. Like you had all, from like vintage honky tonk sound and
Right.
stuff to, the modern country and everything in between. It just seemed like a good mix.
Yeah.
Are you guys in the middle of a tour right now? Like, are you touring back home?
Always.
Yeah, we we're touring with Kenny Chesney, so
Oh, you're on tour with Kenny Chesney. There's
Yeah.
like a Kenny Chesney connection, but with you
Yeah.
guys, did you like write a couple songs
Brad
for him?
and
Or
I
something like
wrote a song for Kenny, Save It for Rainy Days, what it's called. So I think that's kind of how he heard of us, and we wrote that song and then invited us on tour last year.
that? Right.
So we did like 15 dates last year with him in stadiums, and then this year we're back and we're doing like 40, I think, which is
40 dates with him, really?
Yeah.
Is he one of those guys that tours does like the Thursday through Sunday thing?
Yeah.
pretty much.
And
yeah.
do you guys wind up doing fill-in dates? I always
Yeah.
marvel at that tour schedule that
we're
when guys
doing-
do. That seems like a real country thing. Yeah, you don't see
Totally.
that in rock and roll as much. Like,
I mean, we're doing 150 or 160 dates this year, and 40 of them happen to be with him. But
wow.
Doing 50.
yeah,
Is Bailey still working for him?
yeah,
You know Bailey?
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to work for us. He was our security guy
right on.
years ago. Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. No,
Cool
he's
guy.
a dream. Oh, he's a great guy. Yeah, dream gig. So you guys, are you all from Virginia?
no, I'm from Detroit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we met him in Virginia.
But the
Yeah.
where are you from?
Connecticut.
Oh, okay. So were you the two guys at the band meeting? Like, I don't like this band name. I want to be called Motor City.
I mean, just to be done with the whole naming of the band was fine with me. I didn't care what it was called at that point.
I joined after the name was there, so
Yeah.
I knew what I was getting myself into.
We almost had to change the name and almost quit because we had to change the name.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's always. It pretty much seems like in any band, every member of the band's like, that fucking band.
Yeah.
It wasn't my idea. It was that guy's idea.
Yeah.
So did you three guys know each other growing up, like in Virginia?
Yeah, Whit and I kind of grew up in the same area, same county, really, and went to middle school and stuff together. And then he was in a band with Geoff in college.
Okay.
All three of these guys, Brad and Whit and Geoff, went to James Madison University. So
Okay.
In Virginia. So yeah, we were all playing different bands there, same kind of little circuit and stuff. And then one by one, each of those bands failed.
Thankfully.
We,
It's called paying your dues.
we all kind of moved to Nashville, one by one, for some of us to be songwriters and some of us to play, for this kind of side guys for different people. And then we sort of reformed while we were there.
Yeah.
We mostly moved to Nashville.
Before that, like when you were kids, like I'm curious as to like what all your different family lives were like, like what got you into music? Do you come from, do you have like musician parents, or what was it for each one of you?
I mean, as far as my family, my mom's side actually has a lot of musicians. Like a couple of my cousins went to music school, and her brother was a drummer, and my dad, his claim to fame, he played in a band with Steve and Tyler when they were in high school.
That's a pretty big claim to fame.
Yeah.
That's
high school
solid.
picture
Claim
them.
to
They're
actual
like
fame.
dressed like the Beatles, and they're like jamming out of the
No way.
So I just found his like acoustic guitar in the attic, and that's kind of, once I picked it up, I never put it down. I mean, my dad, he can play a few chords. He can't really play much or anything, but that's kind of how it started for me, I guess.
This is Whit. I had a very idyllic childhood, probably, but my dad was a drummer, and so there was a drum set in the house, and so it was just natural that eventually I was curious enough to just set it up, and then I tortured my parents with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, drummer, you had tolerant parents.
Oh man, like I don't know if I could do it. I mean, it was like every single day, just having, like, I was just in the basement, so it's like they can hear every single thing that's going on.
I remember, like, when it was time for dinner, I was in the basement too with the guitar, the light flash.
Oh, yeah.
Get up here.
Yeah, I would get the lights just turned off on me. In the basement, the light switch for the basement was upstairs, and my dad would just turn it off, and I'd be down in the complete dark.
On a total side note, but related to that, I had a drum set I don't really play drums, but I had a drum set in my garage for a long time, and I would just bash around on it and stuff, and I'm a terrible drummer. And one day, one of our neighbors walked by and said to my wife, like, doesn't the drummer for the Goo Goo Dolls live there? I was like, whoever that poor guy is, I'm like besmirching his good name in this world. Just like, anyway, you go.
No, there wasn't a whole lot of music in the house. Like, I'm sorry, man.
This guy had a lot to drink last night.
Today is not his best day.
Today is not his day.
Not even the burrito.
Let me answer for Geoff. He was a military kid. And
Yeah. No, I had a rough night. Neither of my parents played music, but they were very supportive.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Then I'll just stop right there.
If only they knew what you'd get into last night.
Right.
Yeah.
They never would have supported you.
Oh my gosh. I had, I guess, a couple things. I had an uncle that played guitar, and he just kind of blew me away just as a kid watching him play. And then I went and saw Huey Lewis in the News concert. And I was like, I want to do that. And yeah, my parents were just completely supportive. I had a drum kit too, and guitars and stuff that like my other uncle gave me, and just kind of was always noodling around, and probably got everything taken away from me as a kid except for that stuff. They never took that stuff away from me because of school and all that stuff.
Sure,
just not doing what I should or whatever. So I couldn't drive. I was just in my room playing guitar. So
Yeah, I mean, we got a piano when I was little. My parents played in the band, like saxophone and stuff like that a little bit. They weren't like overly musical, but they played a couple instruments. And then we got a piano. I have a brother and two sisters, so we got a piano. I was probably 8 or 9. And we all took lessons and everything. But then I picked up the guitar in high school. And actually, like, my buddy that I grew up with, we played hockey together. And I mean, I didn't even know how to play the guitar. I just tuned it to one chord, and I would just bar the whole thing to make chords.
Yeah.
And we started making up like joke songs just to rip on our teammates on the hockey team. So we'd all huddle into the van and listen to them. And at some point,
You need to collaborate with Wheeler Walker Jr. There's a pair there. And he's a fan.
But yeah, there was like at one point, one of our teammates, like we were all laughing at one of the songs, and he goes, "You know what? I actually kind of like that song." And we were like, "We're pretty good, man." So we actually started a band, and we played together for years.
Really? So that was like your entryway into writing songs?
Yeah.
I'm curious for all you guys, like, when did you start writing songs? I mean, you're all successful songwriters in your own, outside of the band too, right?
I mean, I think I started, right when I started playing, when I was in 8th grade or whatever, probably. I think at first I just had like little like riffs I'd play, and like my buddies would be like, play that like number 2, you know.
Play that one, you know.
Riff number 2.
Yeah. But then, you know, of course, you get a girlfriend, and you gotta write something.
Yeah, same here. I just, as soon as I had a guitar, you know, I used to sit at my parents' piano and just kind of make stuff up, and my dad would just say, hey, you have a guitar sitting in the closet, you should just try that. So I didn't know how to play anything else, you know, so I would just try to make something up.
Yeah, I remember being like, it's a like real vivid memory. I don't remember how old I was, but I was sitting in the car and listening to, like, I don't remember what the song was, but it was, you know, some catchy song. And I remember thinking, like, how did somebody make that song up? Like, how do you make up a song when it wasn't there?
Steal it from somebody else.
Yeah, I guess you kind of do. Yeah.
Now we know.
Yeah. But yeah, I was probably like maybe 8 or 9, and I sat there and I tried to write a song, which was obviously terrible, but I was just fascinated by it. So I still, to this day, like, I don't know how it's done. You know, we get into a room and then you walk out and you have something that wasn't there beforehand.
It's the first time I've ever heard you admit that a song you wrote was terrible.
That's actually not true. Most of my songs are terrible.
That actually leads me to what I want to know. With all you guys writing songs, I mean, how does that work for this band? If you've all got, you know, 10 songs in your back pocket going into band practice or whatever, like, how do you do that? Do you write together?
Yeah, we write together.
Do you pair off in groups? Like, I mean, or how do you even decide which ones are going to, you know, make it on the album or whatever?
I mean, yeah.
And I hope I'm not picking a scare.
No, not at all. You're good. We moved to town. Like, the three of us, especially Brad and Trevor and myself, moved to town to be songwriters, you know,
right?
Because we just wanted to get in that world. So
was that you wanted to be a songwriter?
Yeah,
that wasn't like you went there to be a performer and then just got into that?
Yeah, we went there to be songwriters,
right,
not performers. And, you know, that's what we spent years trying to break into. And so we were always writing, and you get the little circle of writers that you write with, and, you know, these guys are in that circle that I'm in. So we were always writing together anyway. And so...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, good.
First time doing an interview. I forgot to turn my phone off. Let me just do that.
No one will know.
Yeah.
I will edit that out.
Oh, good. Anyway. But, yeah, we're all in the same writing circle, and we write all the time together. So sometimes it is like outside with a couple outside writers that we write with a lot, but a lot of times we write together. And it's just, you know, when we were making this album, it's just about the best song that makes it, you know. So it's always like a song wins kind of thing. We all as a band, I think we care a lot about the song, you know, and what it says. And
sure.
So I think there so far has been no like rub on, you know, my song didn't make it. You know, everybody needs to be excited about it before we'll all do it.
What is it like being what's a day in the life of a songwriter, like a professional songwriter in Nashville?
It's different for us now that the band things happen, but
sure,
before the band things started to take up, I mean, it's pretty much Monday through Friday, have a writing appointment, you know.
That sounds very shitty and like corporate, but it's not at all. It's, you know, it's like you're still, again, it's your friends. It's like being in a band in some ways, because again, you work in smaller circles for the most part, and, you know, like Trevor and I have a standing right with a buddy of ours, Matt Jenkins, and we've written with him every Tuesday for probably 6 years now.
Do you ever show up to that? Just like, I got nothing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And most then if you do, really, and then it's okay. So this is what I always wonder about like professional songwriting. Like, what do you do to break through not having an idea?
I mean, that's why I love co-writing. You know?
Right.
I mean, you have people that you know you work well with, and it's like you might have nothing that day, but your co-writer might have something cool, and then it sparks you, you know.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll be playing something that you don't know if it's cool or not. Someone goes, "That's cool." You're like, okay,
I'll keep playing that.
right. Well, backing up a little bit, when you guys first, so you all moved to Nashville, and then when you guys started playing together as this band, what do you do? Like, are you playing? Like, were you playing around gigs? Because if you're already kind of established in the scene there as songwriters, were you then going out and getting gigs and trying to get a record deal, like just like any other band? Or are you sort of shortcutting that, or how does that work?
Well, definitely not a shortcut of it.
Well, I mean that sounds like a negative, but I didn't mean
they
like
both kind of started to come up together because
it
took for a long time. You know, we had publishing deals, but no cuts or anything, no hits. You know, we were starting to establish. You know, and then at some point started to play, and you know, we were playing together, and we weren't like, hey, we're a band and we're going for it.
Sometimes it was just to make an extra $40.
Yeah.
Right, sure.
So about the time, you know, we started to have a couple hits as writers, the band was tightening up. It really sort of happened at the same time. So it was one of those like stars align sort of thing. I'd say like, yeah, we had about maybe 3 or 4 hits as writers. And that's probably about the time that people started going, hey, this band is good. And they have hit writers. So people started to take it seriously.
Yeah.
We started to take it more seriously.
Yeah.
And, go ahead.
I mean, a lot of times too in Nashville, you do showcases as songwriters. And I feel like that's a lot of what we were doing, was doing these performances just to show off these songs. But in Nashville, usually you do that with a bunch of hired dudes. So the whole band is just assembled for that performance, and then they break off to do everything else. So I feel like that was a big part of it too, was that we would do these showcases, and then people would go, you guys sound like a band, because we have been playing together for years and years. Yeah.
And then, so how did you wind up? Because didn't you self-release your first, like you put out an EP first, right, before your record?
Yeah.
Am I getting that right? Did you
definitely.
put that out yourself?
Yeah, and you know, once things started going, then we did, you know, have some meetings with labels. You know, it, like you said, it snowballed, and you know, all of a sudden we need a booking agent, and all of a sudden we need a management company, and all this stuff.
It's time to get turned down by every label.
Yeah, so then, that's when we started checking out labels, and everyone saying no. So then, we put out a little EP, and you know, and satellite radio kind of jumped on board and started playing our music a lot, and that helped us a lot. And that was a huge deal. Suddenly, people all over the country could hear us.
It's funny, you know, getting ready for this interview, your band name, like I feel like I've heard of your band for a long time, and I was like looking through your, you know, releases, and I was like, wait, they only have one full length? How's that possible? Yeah. Like, you guys seem like a really good example of the idea that there's like no such thing as an overnight success. Like, because if anybody doesn't know your backstory, it would seem like, oh, here's this band with one record.
Yeah.
But there's this, you already have this sort of like built-in. I mean, every band does, I guess, to some extent, but you guys really do.
We definitely did the van thing for quite a long time. Minivan into the 10-passenger van into the next van.
It's still fresh enough that I feel like when we get in a 12-passenger van, you kind of all get chills. I
remember we were playing some show like a couple months ago, and this van was backing up, and I was standing next to some girl who, I don't know if she was with that band, or I think she was with the band next to us that had the bus, but I'm like, that van's giving me the chills right now. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I gotta be honest. Like, I don't think I could do it if I had to go back in that thing. She looked at me like, really? And I was like, yeah, I don't think I could do it.
Have you guys toured Europe? Did you ever tour overseas?
Not yet. No, we went to London, played a couple shows over there, but that's it.
When you do a van tour in Europe, or at least, you know, I'm sure it's still the same way, but like when I first did van tours in Europe, you would be in like a Sprinter van, right? And I always marvel, why did that goddamn thing take so long to get to America? that like alleviates a lot of the pressure of a van tour. It makes your van tour, you're like, great, we can stick a TV in this thing and have video games. It's like
we kept holding out on the Sprinter. Like, we would get to a point and be like, are we gonna get a Sprinter? And we'd be like, no, let's just hold out a little bit longer and see if we can push this van a little bit further, and then find.
Or it's like, I feel like a Sprinter has its own set of like bad things about it. I don't know.
We got mixed reviews on them.
Well, and then
from other bands.
like
people start converting them.
But they all like trick them out now. Like, if there are all the people touring in them, they have like bunks and stuff.
Totally.
I can sleep really good in the back bench of that van.
The back bench was the only place to get any sort of comfort.
I will say, man, though, like, I don't ever want to get back in it, but it was cool. Like, we actually saw.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when we went out west for the first time, you get to see all the scenery and everything, and you're driving in the daytime, which doesn't happen anymore on the bus, kind of.
I appreciate that, but I have to honestly say, my van tour days, I was sleeping. I slept the whole time. I slept all over the world. I slept very little.
You're one of those guys, man. I'm jealous of you. That's like Trevor. He can. I gotta take a nap.
I could. If I ever do this, I'm out.
Yeah. Van tours make you real close with your bandmates. That's for sure. So once you guys put out the EP, is that when you guys start touring a lot? Like, then it becomes full-time commitment?
Yeah, I'd say probably, you know, that's when we started playing, you know, over 100 dates a year.
Last year was really, I feel like, the first real, like,
touring. Yeah, and then, last year, I guess you're right. That's when we did 100,
was that
like almost 200 dates. Yeah.
And one of the things I always marvel at country that's different, there's like just differences about way bands are marketed, or there's the business side of it works. And it seems like country artists put out a bunch of singles and then a record.
Yeah.
Whereas like in rock and roll, it's more like you put out one single and then your record comes out 2 weeks later or whatever, and then hopefully you have a couple singles after that. So I was surprised to see that. I didn't realize that your record just came out in November. It's like that's like a new record.
Yeah.
But you guys were touring like that whole year leading up to it. So by the time your record came out, you guys are like a seasoned touring machine. I'm assuming, right?
That worked out well for us because we kind of work out all the kinks. But that EP definitely was something that helped us too. I think there's 4 songs on there that are on the full length album, so that kind of helped create the buzz or whatever for the album too.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I don't know why they do it that way. Maybe they're like, let's just see if this thing works, and then we'll put out the record.
Yeah. They just try to put their toe in the water to see if it's going to work.
Because it amazes me. Sometimes they'll put out a couple singles, and then they just never release the album. Okay, it's not selling very well, and then you don't get to release an album.
And you'll hear of an artist like putting out a song, they're done with their record, they put out a song and it doesn't work, and then suddenly they're cutting a completely new record. Like everybody panics and they change gears. And,
Right.
I feel like that happens more when you're making we'll have to do this time, but like when you're making a record and you don't have any songs already, and then everyone has to judge the songs. Like at least our first time, we came to the label with the thing almost all halfway done.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't have to get anyone's opinion anymore, really.
Right.
I mean, you do to some extent, but they sign you because they like the songs.
Right.
But also having a successful track record, writing songs for other artists, like does that give you a little more control in the industry?
I think so. I mean, they didn't even really as much as step foot in the studio when we made the second half.
Really?
We never. Yeah, they were just like,
gotta be
"How's it
nice."
going?" And we're like, "Great,"
That was the best part about it is like we did tour so much and we did all the groundwork and we did the grassroots and we had XM playing a song and we had all this stuff like all lined up. We had hits as writers. We had already shown them songs that they liked. So it was like, it wasn't like, let's sign these guys and tell them what to do and tell them what to become. It was like, we like this product. We like what you're doing. We trust everything you're doing and it's working. So they've pretty much given us, carte blanche to do our thing and be us. And, there hasn't been a point yet where they, came in and said no to anything. So I guess as long as it keeps working, hopefully that'll be the way it goes.
And are you guys going to tour this one like all year long and then go make another record, or are you do you already have plans? Are you already working on a follow up?
Yeah, we've been writing a lot. We've been writing for years, so there's still songs that are 5-6 years old that might make it onto the next record, but we've also been writing a lot of new ones too. So I think the plan is maybe to go in the fall and start cutting new stuff.
So what's the rest of your year like then? You're doing the Kenny Chesney tour?
Yeah, Chesney, and then all the other shows in between.
Yeah, and then we start. I think we'll start our own tour in the fall. I think, and it'll be like clubs and stuff like that.
Have you done much of that yet?
Yeah, we've done quite a bit of that. So last fall too, we did. This one will be, I guess, our first like hour tour when we're not opening for somebody on it, but so it'll be fun.
And where are your like strongholds? Where do you tend to kind of go?
Chicago's real good for us.
Minneapolis is huge, for some reason.
That's right.
Boston
for some reason.
Yeah, Boston.
Oh, really?
San Diego always shows up pretty good.
Boston, it's the Aerosmith connection.
Yeah.
So that's what it's going to
Yeah, it's funny. It's not like the South.
Yeah.
be. Really?
Yeah.
Well, Atlanta's
Interesting.
Atlanta is really good. Yeah.
Good.
I mean, it's starting to be, I think this year and end of last year we've went from like there's definitely no one is showing up tonight. Like we're in Iowa and then it's a Tuesday and then we're like,
where'd all these people come from?
But, and now it's like it's just pretty much there's people at every show, which is for a band that's been playing for as long as we have to nobody, it's still kind of refreshing.
There is something you miss about those days, like, I wonder if anyone's coming.
I don't miss that.
Yeah, so far we don't miss
I guess I don't really miss them that bad. Yeah. It's nice when you don't have to, when that's not your reality, you can miss them. Makes it a lot this good old Andy. Well, I don't know if you guys feel like playing a tune. Sometimes people play a song at the end. Sometimes people don't. No pressure either way. I happen to have an acoustic sitting right there. Yeah, I got some gear in the other room. We could just start cutting your next album right now if you want.
Yeah, we can do something. What do you want to play?
If you feel like, I mean, if you don't too, that's all good. Sometimes people do, sometimes people don't.
I mean, we could just do like kind of, you don't have to get like the cologne hat or
I remember. I got one last question that I forgot to ask that I wanted to ask you and was curious about, and because you guys are, songwriters, this makes sense to ask you. What makes a song a country song? Like, do you have like an opinion on that? Because in the old days, like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever, a lot of country music stuck to, it was a 1-4-5 bass thing and the similar melodies, and it was like really kind of, in my opinion, the vocal and the story or whatever that sort of made it a thing. So nowadays, like, what makes a country song a country song? Is it like instrumentation? Is it stylistic stuff?
I think
is it the lyrics? Like, what is it?
Accused of not being country.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
I think more and more it's not musically. It's all over the board. I think it's the lyrics are more direct and straightforward. They're not as poetically vague or anything.
Right.
So that's a big part of it.
I think that's probably it. I mean, honestly, anymore, it just seems because every genre is bleeding into.
Sure.
You can hear it on country radio. You can hear everything. So I think you're right. I think it's just lyrically, it's more spelled out. To leave less room for interpretation. It means what it means.
Right. Yeah, it tells a story.
Yeah.
Specifically.
But yeah, it's pretty much.
And usually that story takes place in a truck.
Party in a cornfield, which is impossible to do.
Are there any minivan country songs? Because I drive a minivan.
So
I want to be the guy that corners that market.
We might need to write that one.
Yeah.
We've spent a lot of time in the minivan.
Do you guys have kids? Have you got married kids? Any of that? Okay. Yeah.
So we know the minivans.
Oh yeah. I know. Well, I was just talking to I was driving my kids to school the other day. I was like, guys, I think it might be time for Daddy to retire the minivan. And they were like, what? What are you talking about?
Does it have a name?
It doesn't, but, Kook might come to... it's the name people give me, I guess, when they see me driving it. When you pull up to the gig in your minivan, it's not that cool. I tried to buy, this old vintage car, but I don't know fucking anything about cars. And it just sat there and it was like... Felt like I was driving a boat. I was like, I got the wrong car. I finally just sold it. I was like, I can't. I'm not gonna be a cool guy with the car.
There's other things about you that are cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I was fishing for that. I finally got it.
Yeah. It's okay, man.
I mean, that was all the stuff I had to. Chit chat with you guys. But if you want to play a song, I don't want to pressure you, but it would be nice.
Or we could do a new one.
Ready?
This is what's it called?
Maybe it's not Dean's.
Not everything's about you.
Not everything's
about you. Yeah. Sunsets happen. My phone rings. I'm finally laughing. Doing things with my friends. We drink to this, we drink to that. We throw that 8-ball in the rack. It's what I have, not what I had. And the song comes on and I sing out loud. And there ain't no road that I can't go down. And I don't think twice, I pass your house all the time. And the rain just rolls right off my back. And I don't get caught in the same old traps. I can hear your name and fall asleep just fine. Yeah, the world don't revolve around you. Not everything's about you anymore. She's got brown eyes, her own place. Just last Friday I picked her up and we went out. We drank to this, we drank to that. I turned her on to Johnny Cash. It's what I have, not what I had. And the song comes on and I sing out loud. And there ain't no road that
that I can't go down, and I don't think twice. I pass your house all the time, and the rain just rolls right off my back, and I don't get caught in the same old traps. I can hear your name and fall asleep just fine. Yeah, the world don't revolve around you. Not everything's about you anymore. Yeah, the song comes on and I sing out loud, and there ain't no road that I can't go down, and I don't think twice. I pass your house all the time. Yeah, the rain just rolls right off my back, and I don't get caught in the same old traps. I can hear your name and fall asleep just fine. Yeah, the city lights and the midnight stars, and too many drinks in a downtown bar don't mess me up like they did before. Yeah, the world don't revolve around you. Not everything's about you anymore. Anymore.
Yeah. Very nice. You guys are tight as fuck. Unbelievable.
Well, when there's only one of us playing, then.
I was thinking about the vote. I could get it.
Girl, you know it can't wait. Rip it off just like a Band-Aid.
Okay, that was Old Dominion on Walking the Floor, playing their new track, Not Everything's About You. How great were those guys? I like the fact that their rhythm section, Geoff and Whit, they actually shared a mic. I thought that was kind of interesting. They just cosmically went together because they're, the rhythm section. Anyway, Old Dominion, check them out at olddominionband.com, or you can find them on Twitter at Old Dominion. I checked, and it looks like they're on tour pretty much for the rest of the year, and probably beyond that even. But they're probably coming to a town near you soon. Check it out. And hey, if you like what you hear on Walking the Floor, please go subscribe in the iTunes store. It really, really helps out. Subscribe. Be a subscriber. It's free. There's 51 episodes and many more to come. Please go listen to all the old ones. Leave us some reviews. Give us some ratings. It really, really helps. Please subscribe. And that's it for this week. We'll see you back here next week with Wheeler Walker Jr. Yes, back to back. Old Dominion one week, Wheeler Walker Jr. the next. I love it. This is Walking the Floor. We'll see you soon. Adios, amigos.